Christ going into my senior year, I realized that Jesus didn't come on earth to alleviate my conscience. He didn't come to make me feel better. He came so I could be better.
Amen.
He didn't come to ease my conscience. He came to cleanse my conscience.
Amen.
See, that's the difference between religion. And that's the difference between some of you thinking giving an offering is a waste, and some of you recognizing it's worship. What some people call waste, Jesus still calls worship. What some people call waste, Jesus still calls worship. Get in the spirit. Listen, some of you I know have been obnoxious, but I want some of you to shout out to Jesus. I want to become part of your DNA. What some people call waste, Jesus still calls worship. See, that's what this offering is all about. It's about us somehow linking our hearts with His to reach lost people. A little girl named Leslie, she's just a middle schooler. She caught it, guys. She lives in the inner city of St. Louis. And she was at a service like this, so she knew she had to do something. It was actually at the beginning of the year in a Speed the Light tour, just this last January. And Leslie's in this service, and she sets a goal, not because her youth pastor asked her, although that's nice. Not because the story she heard gave her goosebumps, although that's okay. She decided she needed to set a goal because she wanted to do something beautiful to Him. She wanted to somehow love people that she couldn't love this side of eternity. See, when we can love people that are going to love us back, sometimes that's not always as Christ-like as it sounds. But when you can love people that may never bless you back, when you can invest in a soul that may never touch your life this side of eternity, and Leslie caught it. And so Leslie decides to set a goal for $500. Now some of you think, wow, no big deal. But that's a huge deal because Leslie lives in the inner city of St. Louis. She doesn't have a daddy. Doesn't know who her dad is. Her mom's a crack addict. And her mom has 2 live-in boyfriends that are crack addicts. But Leslie decided somehow she's going to love lost people. She's going to do something beautiful to Him. So she got her Pringles can, so you know what I'm talking about. She put that theme label around it, and that became like her bank. And she got a job because, she realized something. It's nice to set a goal and have a faith promise for God, but faith without works is... Yeah, sometimes you got to work, put a little work behind your faith, and then God does miracles. And so she realized that, so she got a job, and she sacrificed, and she put money in the Pringles can, and the money was accumulating, but after a couple months she realized it wasn't growing anymore. Comes to find out that her mom's 2 live-in boyfriends are crack addicts, man, have been ripping off her Pringles can. So Leslie goes to the church, she asks the youth pastor, hey, will you hang on to my Pringles can? He says, man, by all means. And so you know what's cool about this? Is Leslie didn't stop. I mean, her friends are looking at her, she doesn't have nice clothes. And they're thinking, wait, what are you doing? When you can buy another outfit for yourself, you can go to the movie. But man, when people are saying waste, maybe not even verbally, but when by their lifestyles they're saying waste, see, you know what Leslie's doing? You know what heaven's doing? Nah, that's worship. And when the year was over, Leslie, because she never stopped, she just kept at it. Because, you know what, to be a real worshiper, it takes a disciplined lifestyle. Anybody can give a one-time offering. But it's another thing to let it be part of your lifestyle. And that's what Leslie did, man. All year long, she just kept at it. And you know what, the money's cool. When her mom's boyfriend was ripped off over $200 for a Pringles can. But she still gave over $500. But that's not even what's powerful to me. What's powerful to me is that in the midst of a culture and society that screams, waste! In the midst of a time when economics aren't really all that great, the world really weren't great for her any time because she's in the inner city, doesn't have much. She decided what some call waste, Jesus still calls worship.
Amen.
And she did something beautiful to Him. And that's powerful to me. And some of you are there, and no one else may notice it. Maybe your story will never be told on the stage. But can I tell you, in heaven, this is what Jesus is doing. Leave her, leave him alone. Because that's worship. That's worship. Jesus said one other line, because we're going to take up an offering in just a few minutes, that is practical and is key. If we're going to really know how to worship Him in our giving, and specifically with loving lost people to speed the light, then we got to practice what Jesus said. When He rebuked the disciples, He told them why it was so powerful to Him. He said, she's done what she could. And students, leaders, I'm not asking anyone here to walk on water this morning. But I'm asking you to finally, as a believer, when you look yourself in the mirror, respect what you see, and let us, as a movement of young people, let us be that army that you heard, talked about last night. Let us be that army, not a group, not a clique, not a youth group, but a youth army, a youth ministry, a youth movement. Let us not just give token offerings, bless you, Jesus, but learn to pour ourselves out. What a picture for us. She's emptying out everything she has. I'm not asking you to walk on water, but I'm looking for some believers. I'm looking for some students that somehow deep within their soul can have this resounding conviction that says, come what may, from hell or high water, I'm going to love lost people, and I'm going to give like I've never given before. But that doesn't happen unless you do what you can. And you guys have been phenomenal. South Texas has led the nation, although recently not so. And God is looking for some group of students somewhere in America to become those banner students that recognize for this thing to be worship, we've got to do what we can. And students, if you'll learn this now, someday, your life, God, people will look at you and they'll say, why does God bless you? Because there's a principle in giving. When you give, when you do what you can, God does what you can't. And when God sees that He can get it through you, He'll get it to you. But it takes a heart of a student or a leader in this room that's willing to be broken for the right stuff. Not broken for the boyfriend, not broken for the girlfriend. I've gone through one of the hardest times of my life. I'll come back here later today. I'll share some of that with you. I've been broken in a lot of ways. But you know what God's really looking for is for someone to be broken for the right stuff. And the right stuff is for someone to start loving lost people like never before. So here's my question. We'll take up the offering in a few minutes. What can you do this morning? Leaders, a lot of you came with checks already. But can I tell you, God's stirring some of you. He's trying to fan a fire that once, just was ablaze in your life. But you let your route become a rut. And can I tell you, Speed the Light is alive and well, not because it's a nice AG program. I could care less whether it's an AG thing or not. But I'm telling you, and I don't mean that flippantly. I've loved the Sons of God. But I don't do it because it's, quote, I got AG embroidered on my undergarments. I'm like, I don't. You know why I do it? I do it because it's about loving lost people. You want to know how mature you are as a believer? You start doing what you can. You don't let another day go by without you trying to love some lost people. I close with this and I'll pray. Charles Spurgeon, he said this in a sermon to his congregation. And my son used it in a fine arts festival, short sermon. And man, when I heard it, I thought, God, I'm not that hard. And this is what Spurgeon said in the sermon. And it's going to sound like I'm cussing, but I'm not. It's a word used for people going to hell. And this is what Spurgeon said. He said, if sinners be damned, at least let them leap to hell over our bodies. If they must perish, then let them perish with their arms about their knees. Let no one go there unwarned or unprayed for. Every time you give, every time you sacrificially do what you can, you're wrapping your arm around some sinner's knees. William Carey, great missionary, said this, trying to paint a word picture for what your giving does for missionaries. He says, I've been lowered into a well. Think like a water well. Back in the old days, they would dig deep in the ground. He says, I've been lowered into a well. I need you to hold the rope so I won't fail. Every time you give, it's worship. And sometimes worship, it doesn't always feel warm, it doesn't always feel exciting. It's not fun to hold a rope, we get rope burns. But can I tell you, when we get to heaven, you know how we're going to start recognizing who in this room knew what it meant to love souls? We're going to hold up our hands and we're going to start seeing some rope burns.
Rope burns.
See, God wants us as disciplined followers of Christ to know what it means, to hold some ropes so some people can come to know Christ that we may never meet this side of eternity. And here's the cool thing about Speed Light. We're not just holding ropes. We're buying the ropes, come on. That's what we do, baby. We buy the ropes. Now Here's what I want you to do. I want you to put one hand on your heart and close your eyes.